West Palm, Boca,
Yeah.
that whole little strip all the way to Miami. Like that's where all the mobsters go.
Yeah.
That's where all the fraudsters go. That's where every guy, every stockbroker that's running a scam in New York gets caught, goes to jail, and then when they all go right down there. They all like, and so in that general area, it's really not Miami. It's that general area of
Boca, Del Rey, Fort Lauderdale.
yeah, it's fraud. It's like so much fraud, and it's not even little fraud. The frauds that happen down there, it's never credit card fraud.
Yeah.
It's always this guy ran $100 million Ponzi scheme. This guy it's always these massive frauds down there. Even the stock frauds.
And
it's
everybody's just
churning.
like walking around like
Yeah, they're all driving.
regular.
Everybody's driving a Ferrari. Everybody's driving a Lamborghini. Everybody looks great. They're all amazing. And then you start talking to them. It's like 80% of the guys down there they're all from New York.
Yeah, like how do you have a Lamborghini in this bit, like with this business? Like you're like washing cars.
Yeah, and that's Joseph Vitale. Same thing. I think he grew up on Long Island. I'm going to send you this guy, Joseph Vitale. I wrote a story on him.
Yeah.
Same thing. He went down there. He was going to the Art Institute. He's dating a girl whose friend is dating a guy who's a stockbroker. And they all go to lunch one day. The guy pulls up on a Lamborghini. He's, Vitale's driving a 10-year-old piece of shit. He's like, what do you do? And the guy's like, I'm a stockbroker. Why don't you come by? Gives him his card, and he goes by a couple days later. Vitale quits everything he's doing just to be a stockbroker with this guy. He's like, he was good looking. He's got all the women. He's got this amazing car, and New York. He was from New York. Vitale, it's
Right, Long Island.
Yeah, it's a trap. It's a trap. You get down there
Long
around these
Island to South Florida move it is funny like that. Like pretty much everybody I know, it's kind of, I maybe did much bigger things, but they all kind of followed the same path.
Right.
I love to hunt. Hunting people was just, there's nothing like it. I went to New York one time and got a lady it was another $3,500 bond, something small. Bad check. She kept lying and saying she was still in Georgia. And, I'm standing outside her empty trailer and she's like, yeah, I'm still there and this and that. So I'm like, okay, well, no problem. Just call us on Monday and we'll work this out. Well, I tracked her to New York and I called up there to a bail bondsman and said, hey man, she was in Elmira, New York, which is right across the state line from Pennsylvania. There's a big prison up there and stuff. So I called a guy, and he happened to be a bail bondsman, but he goes, man, you know what I do during the day? I said, what? He goes, I'm a mechanic for the city of Elmira Police. I said, really? He goes, yeah, I'm a bail bondsman. I said, well, she's there. He goes, okay. He goes, let me know what you want me to do. And I said, just ride over there and see if you see this car and see if it has a Georgia plate on it. Mm-hmm. So he calls me back. He said, yeah, man, the car's there. They're, and I've done watched it, and they're here this hours and this hours. Me and my partner, and we take his wife with us. We drive straight through, and we get to Pennsylvania. So we stop and get a motel just long enough for all three of us to go in and like take a cat nap and get a shower. Then we go up there and we find, we call him. We're like, hey man, we're here. Do you want to meet with us? He said, yeah. We had him go to the house with us and found her and got her. We get coming down the road and we have to stop at a gas station and she's got to use the bathroom. And we're like, man, we're glad we got Christy with us. So Christy takes this little girl to the bathroom, and she said when this girl went in the stall and went to use the bathroom, she said she stunk so bad. And she said the girl started begging her right away, please let me go from these guys. Just please let me go. Don't say nothing but let me go, Well, she comes back out to the vehicle, and his wife just looks pissed. And we're like, man, why does she look so mad, We get going down the road, we drive a few hundred more miles, and we feed her and get her food and whatever. And then she's got to go to the bathroom again, and Christy comes back, and she's just mad. And we didn't know why, and we got a picture of her standing outside the jail when we got back to Georgia, and she looks all mad, and we walk out in the truck. She says, you two, she says, y'all have no idea how bad it stunk every time I took her to the bathroom. She goes, that's the nastiest woman. Something's wrong with her.
I started drinking at like 11 or 12. At some point, you realize it's not okay. But as far as society and their view on it, I was just good at hiding it, man. At the time, I was a 12-year-old kid drinking with my old man on a Sunday afternoon. It just was what it was. Went over to my buddy's house. His old man was cracking a beer for him, and we were playing football in the backyard. Went over to our other buddy's house, got on the snowmobiles, rode and met our dads at the watering hole and played the little shuffleboard pucks and drank booze. And the bartender, make sure you boys get home safe. Turn your hand warmers on. You get drunk and forget. You'll go home with cold hands. It was just the culture of the town I grew up in, man.
Did you have any brothers and sisters? Was the
one sister? It was kind of the same thing. She didn't, I don't want to say have it as bad as I did. Maybe she had it not as good as I did. Who knows? Maybe she wanted to get drunk at 12 and didn't get a chance to. I don't know. We're 3 years separated. So she left, went off to college, and now I was 15 at this time. Didn't have my big sister. And now I'm home, and, mom and dad are splitting up at this point, and things are really getting kind of shaky. And I realized that in my mid-teens, I suffered a couple injuries playing football and went to the doctor's office locally and started getting prescribed hydrocodone and Percocet at like 15, 16 years old. And I remember, You know, my mom would call the doctor. Oh, Luke sprained his ankle again. Luke tore his shoulder again. Okay, I'll call something in for the pain. I would be in class, and I remember vividly one memory in Mrs. Miller's English class. I sat there, and she was looking at me, and I was like, Miss Miller, I need medicine. My leg hurts. She's like, okay, go to the nurse. I went down to the nurse, and she pulls out this bottle. I remember a little orange controlled substance label on it, and she's like, do you need one? Or Dr. Eppolito said you could have two if you need two. And I remember she hands it to me, and I'm looking at the bottle, and I vividly remember it because it was 7.5 milligram Percocets for a 15-year-old in English class at school. And I actually had a doctor's excuse at one point that if I was passing out or nodding out in class, it was okay because of the medication I was on.
I'm standing in the back of the cell. She was like, boy, I ain't got all day. Come on. And started unbuckling her pants. As she walking to me, I set the mat back down on the floor. She got down, tooted up. I looked down. I said, in the penitentiary?
Can I ask you a question?
Go
real
ahead.
quick? What does this chick look like?
She was nice.
No.
I kid you not. I want to say her name. I've been wanting to say it for years. I promise you I have. She was a nice build. I ain't even gonna lie. But when I was like, there's cat in my cell. This on top of this. I was like, before you knew it, and it was going down. Like it was literally going down. We got finished. She got up. I got back up and stood back, pulled my pants, still scared. And she walked out of the cell. When she closed the door, she didn't lock it. She just pushed it up. She was like, I'm gonna let you back out. And she walked off. And my thought was, cut the lights off, lay down, act like you sleep. So I did just that. Boom, cut the lights off. I lay down. I'm chilling. And I heard, I knew it was one door. And she buzzed them both. And I rose up. And I was like, she buzzed both of them doors. I know I ain't tripping. And I just barely tapped the door. Boom. The door swung open. I was gone. I came through the door. Boom, boom. By the time I came out the door and getting ready to go to the door outside, she's like, oh my God. I pushed her out the way and took out running downhill. I started tumbling. And I bounced up. And when I bounced up, I turned around and the officer who was sitting there and told him, Buzzman, he was standing at the top of the hill. He said the same thing every person who ever chased me said, Joe, don't do it.
Those printers were expensive. Those were $10,000, $15,000 for one of those printers. You know, you could buy those on eBay. You know, the Mac Daddy printer was the Fargo HDP 5000. Once you buy that printer, that's printing direct to card. It's called a DTC printer, direct to card. High definition images, they would bleed over the edges of the card. So a lot of the cheaper printers, you would see like a thin little line around the image, like it wouldn't print over the edge of the card. So once you got over edge DTC, like high definition printing, like when able to crank those cards out, then those cards are indistinguishable from the ones that are issued by financial institutions.
Right.
The biggest hurdle was getting the holograms. You know, so I went on Alibaba actually, and I looked for companies that printed hologram stuff, and I just started messaging different Chinese printers and asking them, can you make these for me? And I got 2 or 3 emails back, and I was like, okay, well, this guy will do it for 10 cents a piece, but you got to order 10,000 at a time.
All right.
So I'd get these giant rolls in the mail like this, and they were just thinner than tinfoil.
Right.
Like the tinfoil you cook with, it's thinner than that. Like it's this thin foil, but it had these doves, and then I ordered the ones for the MasterCard. Once I got those, and I got the little heat press from eBay. You had a little dial on it, and you set the temperature, and it had a little arm, and it had 2 flat plates, and you press whatever you want in between it. It was for people that like emboss like Bible page, like you could put your name in like the front of a Bible. Like they had that back in the day, like the gold. That's what it was for. But I was using it to manufacture credit cards. Right. There was no difference between the card I was making and the ones that were issued from like Bank of America or Wells Fargo or whatever.